Wow, it's really something, isn't it? How those little plastic bricks, the ones we all played with, have turned into this, like, serious art form.
No,
You
absolutely.
see these amazing Lego-compatible models everywhere online,
Mm-hmm.
conventions, and now, well, companies are really starting to sit up and take notice. They want in.
It's a definite evolution. I mean, from just a hobby, a passion, into something with real commercial interest.
Yeah.
And that shift, well, it means designers are facing a whole new set of um, financial and legal things to think about.
Which is exactly what we're digging into today. We're looking
Yeah.
at copyrights for designers, specifically when they're working with companies on these Lego-compatible models.
Hmm.
We got some really interesting material here that breaks down selling, licensing, basically protecting your creative work.
Yeah, our mission really is to help you, the listener, get a solid handle on your rights and, frankly, the real value of what you create in this space. It's growing fast.
Okay, let's dive in. So the first big thing that kind of jumped out from the sources is this idea that there are two core parts to any deal.
Right.
You've got design time on one hand, and then copyright and usage rights on the other. It seems like maybe not separating these clearly is where problems start.
That's a huge point. Yeah. Design time is, well, it's what it sounds like. It's the payment for your work, your hours, the skill you put into actually designing and building the model.
Labor.
The labor, the expertise, compensating you for that tangible effort.
Got it. But then there's this copyright and usage rights bit that feels, I don't know, less concrete, but maybe even more valuable long term.
It absolutely can be. Copyright, I mean, that's the legal right giving you control, exclusive control over how your work gets copied, sold, used commercially.
Okay.
So when you transfer that copyright, you're basically handing over the keys. You're letting the company use your design to make money. And that ownership has a real monetary value. It needs to be seen as separate from just your hourly rate.
And this is where it gets really specific in our sources. They actually put a number on it, like a fair value for transferring the full copyright.
Yeah, a ballpark figure.
Anywhere between, what, $1,500 and $3,000, depending on how big or complex the model is. And they're very clear. This is on top of what you charge for your design time.
Exactly. It's not instead of, it's in addition to. Think about it like selling just one cake versus selling the recipe for the cake.
Yeah, good analogy.
And the recipe lets them bake endless cakes, right? That recipe has value way beyond the time you spent baking that first one.
Right, right. And a lot of designers, maybe they just focus on getting paid for the hours. And they don't think about the value of that recipe, the copyright.
Precisely. They might undervalue it or even accidentally give it away without realizing it. That copyright is potential future revenue for the company. You deserve a piece of that potential, not just payment for the initial work.
Now, there's also an alternative mentioned, which sounds quite interesting. Instead of selling the copyright outright, maybe negotiating a percentage of sales.
Yes, a royalty agreement. That can be a really smart move, especially if you trust the company and think the model will sell well.
It feels more like a partnership then.
It is. Instead of one lump sum, you get ongoing income if the model's a hit. It could potentially earn you much more over time, but, it relies on trust and good tracking from the company's side.
So, okay, we've talked about the money, the value, but the purpose of the design seems critical too. The sources draw a really sharp line between designing for a company versus, say, just for an individual.
Oh, absolutely fundamental. Who is the model for, and how will it be used? That question changes the whole equation regarding rights and value.
So, like, if I design a one-off model as a birthday gift for a friend.
Right, a personal commission.
Yeah.
In that case, charging mainly for your design time and maybe granting very limited non-commercial use rights might be perfectly fine. It's bespoke for that one person.
Makes sense. But then a company comes along. They want to sell kits based on your design or sell the instructions or, I don't know, use it in their marketing.
That's a completely different ballgame. That's commercial use. They intend to profit directly from your creativity.
So you have to charge for both parts then, design time and copyright.
You absolutely should, yes. You need compensation for letting them use your intellectual property commercially, whether that's selling the copyright completely or licensing it for specific uses. If you don't, you're basically giving away the profit potential. It's like licensing a song for a movie. The musician gets paid for that specific use.
Okay, let's get super clear on this then. By default, just baseline, who owns the copyright?
The creator. The designer. That's the default under copyright law. The moment you create an original design and fix it, like build it or draw it, you own the copyright.
Even if you sell the physical model.
Even if you sell the physical bricks, yes. Selling the object doesn't automatically transfer the underlying creative rights.
Unless there's a contract.
Unless there is a signed agreement in writing that explicitly says you are transferring those rights. Otherwise, they remain with you, the designer.
Wow, okay. So as the copyright holder, what rights do you actually have? What can you control?
You have several exclusive rights. The big ones are the right to reproduce the work, make copies, the right to create derivative works like making instructions or variations, the right to distribute copies, the right to display the work publicly, and crucially, the right to license these rights to others.
Licensing. So you can grant permission for specific uses.
Exactly. You can say, okay, Company X, you can produce 1,000 kits based on this design for sale in North America for 2 years, and you'll pay me Y amount, or Z%. You're granting permission, not necessarily selling the whole right forever.
And any agreement, whether it's selling or licensing, needs to be really specific, right?
Yeah.
About the how and the what.
Crystal clear. Vague agreements are asking for trouble. A good contract protects both sides. It needs to define exactly what use is permitted, the scope. Is it for kits, instructions, online display? Where can they sell it? For how long? And of course, how much and when you get paid.
It's like lending someone a tool, you said.
Yeah, kind of. You let them use your special tool, your design for a specific job for a set time, and they pay you for that privilege. But you still own the tool itself.
Okay, so let's try and boil this down. What are the absolute key takeaways? The actionable advice for designers listening to this?
Number one, I'd say, don't ever just give away your copyright casually. Understand its value before you even start talking deals or sign anything. Treat it like the valuable asset it is.
Right. And that links to the second point. Charge separately.
Yes. Charge for your design time, your hours, your skill, and then have a separate charge and negotiation for the copyright transfer or license based on that commercial use factor. Don't bundle them mentally or financially.
And always ask that key question.
Who is this model for and how will it be used? Is it personal? Is it commercial? That question really frames everything else.
And the perhaps obvious but critical advice. Get in writing.
Always. A contract, a clear written agreement. It details the scope, the ownership, the payment. It prevents misunderstandings down the line. I mean, you hear stories, designers getting a small fee up front, then seeing a company make huge profits from their design with no further compensation. A contract protects against that.
It's really about recognizing that this brick art, it's becoming serious business. Designers need to see themselves not just as builders, but as creators with valuable IP.
Exactly. Respect your own time, your talent, and your copyright. As this market grows, knowing your rights and asserting them fairly is crucial for getting paid what your work is worth.
So for anyone listening, maybe you've got a great design, it's getting likes online, and a company approaches you. This separation of design time and copyright value is the core thing to remember.
Absolutely. That's the foundation.
And if you're unsure about pricing, about the contract terms,
don't guess. Seek professional advice, maybe a lawyer who understands IP or an agent. It's an investment in protecting yourself and your work.
Because as you said, these designs are art.
They really are. Buildable art, maybe, but art nonetheless. And art has value. It deserves respect, and it deserves protection.
Now, just quickly before we finish, the sources mentioned alternative builds. That's related, but slightly different.
Yeah, alt builds or MOCs, my own creations, using pieces from official sets. It's a huge part of the fan community taking one set and making something totally new from only its pieces.
Super creative.
Incredibly creative. The copyright situation there is a bit more complex, often involving the original set's IP. Fascinating area, but maybe one for another time.
Okay, got it. So wrapping up our main discussion today, the big takeaway for designers working with companies. Understand that difference. Payment for your time versus the value of your copyright and usage rights.
Yes, they're two separate things. Recognize that, value the copyright appropriately, especially for commercial use, and make sure you're compensated fairly for both.
It definitely makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About how creative work is valued more broadly. So as you're listening, maybe mull over how these ideas apply beyond just bricks to digital art, writing, music, anything you create or see being commercialized.
Yeah, and that leads to a final thought, maybe something for you to ponder. As this whole landscape for creative work keeps changing so fast, digitally and physically, how do these basic ideas, copyright, value, usage rights, apply or need to adapt in other areas you're involved with or just watching?
Food for thought.
It's a shifting world, but understanding these fundamentals of creative ownership and value, well, that's always going to be important.